When you dine, you will find the 50th in France district that features over 175 retailers and professional services.
One of those stores is a European-style cutlery shop specializing in knives from France, Germany, and Japan. And owner Joseph Reuter joins us in the studio. Hi, thanks for being here today.
Yes, wonderful to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about your store and what you have here today.
Sure. So we got started in the pandemic when I wanted, maybe like you, to get your knives sharpened, and everything was shipped. And so we invented and advanced that process. Moved out to Wayzata for a while, but I always wanted to be back at 50th. And we are now. It's wonderful. And we have sharpening, kitchen knives, which we'll talk about fittings in a little bit, and then skills classes.
This is a very niche thing that you landed on here.
Well, maybe. There's 120 million households.
Yeah.
They all have knives.
Well, I mean, it's smart.
Yeah.
Like, what? That's what I mean. Like, I don't think most people would have thought of this as something that you did.
Well, in some of the travels around the world, say major metropolis, right? Yeah. Even in the States on the coasts or into Europe, they've had specific knife shops like this. And when I saw that opportunity, I went, oh, we can make an impact on school lunch, which is really, Vivront means they will live in French. And so some portion of our revenue impacts school lunch improvements. And I wanted to find a connection between home kitchens and school kitchens. And I was going to do containers, but here we are with knives. And it came out of this emotion that most of us have around our kitchen knives, and that's not one that's positive.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Well, tell us why it is so important to have the right knife and to have a sharp knife and the difference it can make.
Yeah, well, I think if you approach it with some joy, you can get some confidence out of that process, and then that's just a ball rolling in the right direction. And we see that regularly. New couples will come in, they'll select a set of knives, they'll go through a fitting, and then they'll just have a whole bunch of joy. One recent gentleman came back there expecting, and he said, I've never had 2 and 3 meals, much less one prepared in my kitchen at any given time. He's like, you open my fridge, I got 3 meals ready. And so he was glowing, and that's really at the core of, can we just have more fun in the kitchen?
Sure.
Kitchens are fun. Let's just have more fun in the kitchen.
And part of that's being skilled. So you've got some knife skills. Teach us some of these skills here with these carrots.
Well, there's 3 ways to hold the food that we talk about in our skills classes, and there's 3 ways to hold the knife. We'll just bump through it a little quickly.
Okay.
Yep.
One of the things when you're choosing a knife, it has a lot to do with the food product that you're going to be working with. Like watermelons do really well with longer knives.
Yep.
Okay.
And when you're going to cut with it, you want it to be a little longer than half, but not longer than 3/4 of the knife's blade.
Okay.
So we have little santokus here for you. Yours rocks a little bit, and you can see that hook on the front. And yours is a little flatter.
Okay.
And what you'll want to do is just cut your food product down so that it's half, but not longer than 3/4 of whatever blade length that you're working with.
Okay.
Yeah, fantastic. And the next step would be to make it safe.
Okay.
So you'll make it safe by making a flat spot.
Okay.
And, you know, depending upon how pretty you want the food to be, you might make that flat spot really tiny, but if it's in a stock or you name it, most people get really anxious about doing it right, and we're much more about taking the next step to improve your skills.
Okay.
So
you
you
made
did
it
really
safe
well
by making it flat. So
it's not going to roll around
while you're cutting it, and you cut your finger.
It's not going to roll around. And you both have grabbed the knife like it's a hammer.
Okay.
The extreme of that would be to choke up on it. So you could do a pointed finger grip where your pinky goes into the choil, advanced grip. Let's just do this next one where you pinch thumb and index finger in front of the handle.
Okay.
And then your 3 fingers wrap around it. A couple different things happen. The knife turned a little, and you're going to be able to use your elbow and your shoulder to make the cut. And this time, start at the tip and slide through.
Okay.
And the knife probably makes less noise.
Yeah.
I feel like mine's kind of noisy.
Yeah.
That might be my technique.
Yeah, it's okay. This is something that you learn over time, right?
Okay.
And blade shape can help with that. If your blade has just a little more hook to it, then that hook helps you when you're pressing it through the carrot. And your blade is actually pretty flat, so we'll switch. You ready? Try that one.
Okay. And then tell us a little bit about, you're talking about the different blade sizes and where we're holding this. Talk to us about getting fitted for a custom knife that is made for made for me.
Yeah, we have custom makers. They come out of America or Japan or Italy. We've got some stuff with Venetian woods.
Beautiful.
That are on the way. Yes, and then they'll laser things in the side. We have others that they're made by hand in south of Osaka.
Oh my gosh.
And when they're folding them over, they look all kinds of beautiful. In this case, they need to be functional.
Sure.
And when your hand size is larger, smaller handles become less desirable.
Okay.
Right? Whereas larger handles, if your hand size is large and your shoulder is high from the countertop, right? You'll have a desire for a larger handle and a longer knife, typically.
Well, I thought it was interesting as we talked about your visit today, just that, knives can be like ski boots or golf clubs. They need to be the right size for you to work the best for you.
Yeah, in the end, you've got most of us who have blocks of knives that have been selected for us, right? Probably on a registry of some sort.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And then we just suffer in silence when we use them at home and don't like them very much.
We've got oh, go ahead.
You can absolutely find a knife that works really well for you, and you can go as far as having them customized. Frequently, we're rounding the top of the blade at the spine to just ease that edge.
Oh, okay.
On knives that are cut square, they'll dig into your fingers. So we'll round those off. We can do some customizations in the shop as well.
That's interesting.
We have some meats that you would like to
yeah, one of the great things about our Euro-style district at 50th and France is that we have a number of places that you can go. Like, you might go to the dentist or the doctor or the hairstylist, or right on your way to Lunds and Byerly's, or we have a meat shop and another kitchen store that's much more about all the kitchen stuff and less about knives. And one of the things that you're doing when you're cutting meat, frequently people like knives that are about 7 inches long and not pointy, right? Because you don't want to cut ourselves. So if you're building out a steak salad, you might think that this is quite long. And if your knife is dull or it's not long, the flavor gets pushed out onto the board.
Sure.
Right? So a longer knife, this is called a sujihiki, and you start at the tail, and you can pull through, right? Or push through, and your flavor ends up staying in your food, so you can put it on your plate.
It looked pretty the way you did that.
I know, and effortless.
Well, the sharp helps.
Well, Joseph, we're out of time right now, but thanks so much for stopping by.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. Wow. I'm
looking forward to seeing you at 50th.
Sounds good. We'll put a link to both the Vivront. Did I say it right? Vivront
You did?
Knives.
Well, it depends if you're French or not.
And Jay Morton's